Hello, welcome back to Horizons Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're finally getting back to Suzerain 2.0. So, last time out, we set the ACP on the old guard, as well as got yelled at by the military and read a just crap load of reports in newspapers. So, today we're going to come and pick it up here and go visit with the Prime Minister of Magnolia. Suzerain 1's flight from Holster to Stallport took 3 hours, but went very smoothly. We were about to touch down. David left his seat and came over while Simon was enjoying his newspaper. "It looks like we're about to land, Mr. President." I looked outside. I could see Helluland, the island in between Vox and Magnolia. "So many conflicts over such a small piece of land. The island could barely sustain itself without outside help." I mean, I don't blame them. It is in a very strategic position. Yeah, certainly, if you have Helluland, you're in control of the whole Vagos channel. Yeah, I suspect it'll be one of the topics Mr. Van Horten will bring up his bargaining chip. We must be careful. Helluland might be under the control of Magnolia, but the international community is yet to recognize it, for a good reason, too. Nobody wants to make an enemy of Voxen, especially because of the support of United Katana and the CSP. Yeah, me included. I wouldn't want to do anything to injure our relationship with Voxen. I agree. We should try our best to stick to the middle ground. Simon folded his newspaper, got up from his seat, and sat right next to us. Aside from the point of Helluland, we need to be careful with the additional requests. According to the deal that was negotiated so far, they want to sell us their steel for a higher price, and they are requesting easier access to our agricultural market. In return, they are promising cash flow and investments, especially in the island region. It's not hard to guess why. Precisely. Canolian immigrants in our island region make up a good chunk of the area's economy now. During the initial negotiations, they brought up the topic of immigration many times. The fact that we've relaxed our immigration laws will help tremendously. Let's see if we can shake hands on it. The pilot made an announcement that the descent had started. David and Simon went back to their seats. I took another look outside the window. I could see Stallport, the capital city of Magnolia. Large dockyards of the city and the canals, Stall and Magnolia, appeared closer as our descent continued. Stallport was certainly a fitting name. A couple of minutes later, we finally touched down. The plane parts. I took a final look out the window. The welcoming ceremony for Magnolia was waiting along the red carpet outside. After the guards made their way out, I exited the plane. So I do have a question on that. Was the red carpet just already sitting there and the plane managed to land perfectly next to it? Or did they wait until the plane landed and threw the carpet out? I don't know. That's probably a really dumb thought, but that's okay. Anyway. Let's just wave at the crowd. I waved at the crowd that gathered. There were many camera flashes. I started to make my way downstairs. Prime Minister Van Horten was nowhere in sight. Instead, I was greeted by the Foreign Minister. After handshakes and a couple of photos, I moved to the car where Serge was waiting to drive me to the office of the Prime Minister. "Good day, sir. I hope the flight is comfortable." "Yes, it was. Thank you, Serge." I got in the car. We made our way through the foreign streets. Our convoy was protected by Sordish and Agnolian guards in their vehicles. We got on the highway beside the port and saw dozens of dockyards and ships anchored. Some of the boats and machinery looked old. The city itself looked very grey and grim. The buildings had a touch of Rumberg's famous Monarchian architecture with a mix of Sordish signature domes on the older ones. We are now on the main road to the office of the Prime Minister. "Looks like they are not too happy to see you, sir." Serge pointed at the crowd that gathered on both sides of the street. It was a protest. They were shouting and yelling at our convoy. Some of them held signs written in Sordish. Sordish must pay its debts to Magnolia. I never knew Agnolians were so ungrateful. Not everyone sees great leader like you every day." There have been so many issues in Sordish, I don't know if I can call myself a great leader. "Sir, humility is important, but not in this case. They were always scared of Sordel's potential, and now they are afraid that align with Sordel. They are afraid of you." The convoy started slowing down. "We have arrived, sir." The car continued through the gates while the security vehicles went the other way. We finally came to a stop in front of the door. Serge left the car and opened the car door. I exited and began walking to the door. Dozens of press and the Prime Minister were waiting for me. I saw the Prime Minister much more clearly as I neared the door. He was shorter than I thought. "Mr. President, welcome to Magnolia and to the beautiful city of Stallport." I know this dude's Dutch, or supposed to be Dutch. I don't know how to do Dutch accent, so I'll keep with this terrible one. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. It's great to be here. He reached out for a handshake. The press surrounding us had been waiting for this moment. We shook hands and I went for a hug, which was received well by the Prime Minister. The press went wild and took more pictures. He gestured to the entrance of the 200-year-old Parliament building. This way, please. We entered and the press followed us inside. I would like to present you with a gift as a sign of friendship between our countries. An assistant showed up immediately with a large glass case in her hands. It contained a single sheet of parchment inside. This here is one of the first treaties written between Swordsland and Magnolia, just like the one you prepared with Mr. Vichy before my term. May it mark the renewal of our friendship today as well. This is an amazing gift, thank you. Our photos were taken again. I gestured at one of my retainers who was holding our gift to the PM. Let's see, the sword always goes well, so give him the sword again. Our gift was an ornamented ceremonial sword made of sworddish steel. Ah, an excellent specimen. This must be hundreds of years old. It looks like this is sworddish steel as well. Very fitting, thank you. Cameras flashed once again. Let's go to my office. Follow me. I followed him and we entered the office of the Prime Minister. With its minimalist wooden decor, the room was far more modest than I expected. When we sat down, he leaned back and made himself comfortable. Sheesh, I'm thankful to be done with the ceremonies. I was just about to say the same, I'm not fond of these either. It's one of the tougher parts of the job. He got up from his chair and moved over to the bar. There were many varieties of liquor. Would you like a drink, Mr. Rain? I wouldn't mind some Magnolia and vodka. Ah, you know you drink. He poured the drinks, gave mine to me, before sitting down again. A true gentleman. I can respect that about you, Mr. Horton. This is how we do things in Magnolia, Mr. Rain. I appreciate the kind words, but flattery alone won't sway me this day. First of all, I'd like to say that I've been watching your recent immigration policy changes. I am glad that you've decided to keep it relaxed. Immigrants are very important for beneficial economical development. We believe that very much in Magnolia. It is reassuring to see Swordsland move in a more modern direction. Thank you. He took a sip from his vodka. So, tell me, Mr. Rain, is Swordsland a reliable trading partner to Magnolia? I mean, as long as Magnolia is a reliable trading partner. I can assure you, we are. Van Horton leaned back further in contemplation. So, what's it going to be? First of all, if we shake hands on it, this agreement is going to be extremely beneficial for both of us. You should be able to solve your recession in no time with the investment money flow coming from us. This is, as you know, on top of the reduced tariffs for trade between our countries. Of course, in return, as discussed between my people and your people before, you will allow us privileged access to your agriculture market. You will be buying steel from us at a higher price, which is a small price to pay, really. That is the deal. What do you say, Mr. Rain? I think I need to, because if I try to get the better deal, I have to recognize Helluland, and I don't want to do that. So, I accept. Excellent. Before we dive into the paperwork for the trade deal, I want to offer you another possibility. I would like to expand our new partnership. We have regional forces like Romberg that have been imposing danger on both of our countries. I am of the mind that we must unite, so... By the powers bestowed upon me as Prime Minister of Magnolia, I am offering a military alliance between Swordsland and Magnolia. What do you think? Again, I don't think I want to ally with Magnolia because of the island thing. Plus, if everything goes the way I hope it will, we won't go to war anyway. So, Swordsland isn't ready to go that far with Magnolia. That is unfortunate. It would have been beneficial against the Romberg threat. However, Magnolia can stand by itself against any threat just fine. But there is another topic I'd like to bring up. As you know, Helluland has been long contested between Magnolia and Foxton. Those warmongers want to take back the island. You know how the international community does not recognize our rightful claim on the island, including Swordsland. Wouldn't it be fitting for Swordsland to finally announce the recognition of Helluland as Magnolian territory? You're asking too much. It is a reasonable request, but I won't push too far on the matter. We've achieved enough for today. Well then, he stood up from his chair. We must continue the official program. As you know, we will pay a visit to our founder's grave for another ceremony. Afterwards, we move on to the state dinner. After you. As soon as we left the office, I briefed Simon and David on the outcome of the meeting. The rest of our state trip was full of fake smiles, handshakes, incredibly long ceremonies, and even longer meetings between our ministers and their counterparts. When we came to the end of the trip, the way back was mostly silent. I couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief when we touched down in Holsword. Nice, alright. Let's see, we got, looks like one whole report. Yep, one report from Rebel. Bergen police ambushed by young militants. Bergen police were ambushed in Rebel by two underage suspects armed with K-74s who were quickly killed. The suspects are believed to have been newly recruited militants of the British Freedom Front. This incident highlights the growing trend of underage recruitment by the BFF and the increased danger posed by these young militants. The government is urged to take immediate action to address the root causes of the BFF's recruitment strategies to prevent further radicalization of young people. Nice. Good point, though. Alright, we got 3 newspapers as well. So first up from the Whole Sword Post. New trade deal with Agnolia. A new trade deal between Swordland and Agnolia comes into effect on Tuesday. Agnolian Prime Minister Van Horn told reporters Agnolians will get more from the new deal, which replaced the 20-year-old Markian trade agreement. Swordland will open its agriculture market to Agnolia with the new trade agreement. The deal will also see an increase in trade volume between the two countries and includes a slight price increase of Agnolian steel. We will continue to advocate for continued fair trade between our two countries in a relationship that has been extraordinarily beneficial to both Island and Swordland, Van Horn said. Cool. Alright, and from The Economist, they're just yelling at us, of course. President Rain gives upper hand to Agnolia. As a result of the recent trade deal with Agnolia, we find it baffling how President Rain could give the upper hand to President Van Horn. Even though we have been in recession for some time, Swordland is a country with much more potential, a lot more investments, and a lot more prestige. Yet, it appears that President Rain has failed to play his cards right, resulting in a deal where we will end up paying more for Agnolian steel in return for not enough profit. It is hard to comprehend the reasoning behind accepting such a disadvantageous deal. President Rain has unfortunately fallen short of our expectations in trade negotiations. That's nice. Alright, and Geopolitico. Hegel. Van Horten is playing with fire. Yesterday morning, Chancellor Volkson Hegel delivered a press conference in Helm about the escalating tensions in Helluland. During the press release, he said, Agnolia's unlawful occupation of the island will not stop us from doing whatever it takes to protect our people living in Helluland. He heavily criticized and condemned Prime Minister Van Horten, saying, we are dealing with an illegal occupation force which doesn't refrain from entering our territorial waters without asking our permission. Van Horten is playing with fire. If he's not careful, he might get burned, said Hegel. Geopolitical will be watching the developments closely. Coolio. And let's see here in our overviews, we have... Let's see. Recover trade volume as an orange. Orange thing. Policies. We got trade initiative. Let's see. More orange things. We got Agnolia priority in agriculture market and higher price steel from Agnolia, which is all stuff we already knew. Fantastic. Alright. There we go. All the way back over here. Let's go have our trade negotiations with Valen as well. Swordland One's flight from Holsword to Rocklovitz took approximately 5 hours. Despite heavy turbulence, I managed to sleep a little. Simon, David, and I landed at the international airport of the capital city of Valen. Our aim here is to finalize the trade deal drafted between Swordland and Valen. Our plane landed and the door opened. The sun blinded me for a moment. I stepped outside. I saw the soldiers lined up on either side of a red carpet, and there must have been at least 100 of them. When marching band started playing, soldiers immediately saluted me. I should salute back. I saluted the soldiers. At the bottom of the stairs, Victor Smolak was waiting for me next to a military jeep with a few soldiers by his side. There were a few reporters at the edge of the crowd waiting with their cameras. He was a tall man, almost as tall as me. He was wearing large sunglasses and a regular suit, dressed with the military attire of everyone else in the field. Mr. President, welcome to Rocklovitz. He immediately motioned for an embrace. We hugged and many cameras went off at the same time. He turned around for a couple of additional poses. Nice to see you, Mr. President. Now that the pleasantries are done, let's go. We'll take the jeep for a tour. With another tune from the marching band, we boarded the military jeep. He sat in the driver's seat and I sat next to him. As we started speeding up, the soldiers saluted again. Victor saluted back. Let's just do the same thing. I saluted the soldiers. Both of our security details started following us immediately, along with the team of reporters.
We'll first go to the city center to see the unveiling of the statue.
Whose statue?
Mine, of course.
We kept making small talk about the flight and the weather, so we made our way towards the city center. On almost every corner, there were reporters taking photos of us. Aside from them, though, the streets seemed completely empty. Is Rocklovitz always as empty?
I had this part of the city closed down because of your visit, so that you could enjoy the city in peace. There we are.
We arrived at the center. In the middle of a large plaza, there was a covered statue. Large crowds of people were gathered behind fences, waving both Swordland and Valen flags. Victor waved back at them.
My people have been very spoiled to this visit, Mr. President. I am sure you're delighted to see them.
A man came close to the fence and started yelling at Victor. With my limited knowledge of the basic language, I understood the words Victor and murderer. Almost instantaneously, 2 soldiers came up from behind the man and he was taken away.
Thankfully, the sun is up. Today will be a good day for the reveal.
Very good. Let's just not even talk about it.
Well, let us take our places.
We took our places from the statue. With a drum roll, the statue of Victor Smolak was uncovered. It was a fairly good likeness, albeit more muscular than the real Victor. He was wearing a cloak and holding a sword in his hand.
Excellent statue, very lifelike. What do you think?
Yes, it's very good, very lifelike.
I'm glad you appreciate the art behind it. Join me for a walk.
I followed him through the streets. At every corner, more and more photos were taken. We stopped in front of a pastry vendor on the street.
Give me 2 strudels.
The man behind the stand smiled and gave us 2 strudels. I put my hand in my wallet, brought up some money to give the vendor.
Hold up, your money doesn't count here. I got this.
He handed the money to the street vendor with a huge smile on his face. Cameras flashed again. Afterwards, we walked a short distance to the palace. I will say, he might very well actually be correct there, because who knows if Rain actually got his money exchanged. I doubt Valen takes Ren. Passing the gates, we made our way into the main building, made from ivory-colored stones. The old guard towers flanked the magnificent structure from both sides. The inside of the palace was very spacious, with a very large chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Grand staircases made from the same ivory stone had red carpets on them. On the upper levels, guards stood wearing the traditional outfits of the old Vezek kingdom. We finally reached the office of the President of Valen. The door closed behind us. I looked around at the golden ornaments on the walls and the various jewel-encrusted artifacts. As was customary in Valen, we sat down on the carpet.
Now we can talk about our trade deal.
I nodded.
But before that,
he clapped his hands twice.
Bring Lakeisha.
A few assistants immediately entered the room carrying a large ornamented Keisha, the well-known smoking instrument originating from Valen. They immediately lit it up, and the room was filled with the smell of tobacco. Victor inhaled the smoke and handed me the Keisha. It's just a little hookah, why not? I inhaled the smoke. Nice. It was probably the highest quality tobacco I'd ever smoked. I handed it back. He took another puff, filling the room with more smoke.
So, Mr. President. That's too long. Can I call you Anton?
Sure?
Anton, tell me, what do you really think of Robert?
A barking dog doesn't bite.
I wouldn't be so sure, Anton. I assure you that a time will come.
I mean, regardless, I'd rather prevent further conflict in the region.
You know as well as I do, Anton. They're coming whether we like it or not. They're the aggressor, not us. And now, I need to solve some problems they're creating for me.
I'm listening. He clapped his hands again. 2 assistants came into the room with a map of the border regions between Valen and Sorlin. He pointed at the border.
Look. Bloods and their so-called BFF are causing problems for me in this region. They're getting increasingly dangerous with Romberg's active sports. I know they're a problem for you as well. I will not allow these traitors to exist within my borders, so I will hit them with all the might of Valen. These terrorists need to be destroyed. I will cut all their supplies from Romberg and trap them on the mountain. I call it Operation Bear Trap.
Yeah, I don't support any military actions close to our borders. He lay back on the large pillow behind him.
Here is the deal. I will give you objectively the best trade deal in the region. You'll give me your assistance crushing the terrorists on both of our borders.
I need specifics.
Sure. My spies have infiltrated BFF cells and they found caches of KA-74s. We traced them back to Nuremberg. This alone justifies my retaliation to protect my country. Worst of all, we also found that similar shipments are going to Swordland, and Nuremberg has tried to unite the BFF forces in both of our countries. However, the main problem is the border security between our nations. BFF militants have been using the mountains between Swordland and Valen to escape justice in both of our countries. If we don't act and trap them in those mountains, they will keep replenishing their forces in both of our countries and keep waging war against our citizens. Yes, Anton, you see, this is not just Valen's problem. Well, let's take a step back and talk about what you will get in return. I propose you a no-tariff agreement, co-investment projects, and oil. In return, you'll assist me in destroying the armed militants in my country. You know that as long as they use the mountains of Valen as base, Southern and Lesbia will equally suffer. This is in the interest of the whole region.
What kind of support do you need from me? Can't Valen handle it by itself?
We can, but these vermin are good at hiding. As I told you, they operate to keep reorganizing inside both of our countries. What I want from you in return for all the money and the resources is only a joint operation between our armies against the BFF.
I took a moment to think about it. Let's negotiate Sorlin's contribution in this operation.
You're a tough one, Anton. Normally, I wouldn't offer anything else, but I like you. Here is my final offer. When the operation starts with or without you, there will be stragglers trying to cross into Scotland. We just want you to support the operation even if you do not join. Stop the terrorists from fleeing into your country and you'll have your deal. Simple, isn't it? So, what do you think?
I can handle that. I don't really want to join in the operation, but we need the deal, so we'll close the borders. Deal.
I know I could trust you, Anton. Tonight we'll drink.
He clapped his hands again.
Drinks, dancers, music.
A group of dancers and performers entered and smoke filled the room. As they performed their songs, we clinked our glasses to our new partnership while sipping the sweet basic liquor. The next day, I returned to Swordland with a hangover. Alright, I'm hoping I did that correct and only agreed to close the borders, but we'll see. Alright, so we got 2 reports, 1 newspaper. So, let's start with the Continental Security Pact. CSP asserts sovereignty of PMC ban. In a bold countermove to the ATO's recent legitimization of PMCs, the CSP has outlawed these entities, making it clear that it prioritizes state-regulated forces and, as a secondary measure, citizen militias and revolutionaries to uphold security within its territories. The CSP emphasizes its trust in the state's capacity and responsibility to secure its boundaries, viewing citizen militias as democratic assets when necessary, rather than relying on profit-driven military organizations. This ban underscores the CSP's commitment to maintaining the rule of law within its territories and reinforcing state sovereignty, by differentiating between profit-driven military operations and the state's responsibility towards its citizens. The CSP reinforces its ideological divergence from the ATO, setting the stage for continued global strategic competition. Cool. And from the ATO brokers for peace amidst Rizian claims Lesbia mediates. Amidst rising tensions triggered by Rizia's territorial claims over the Arias gas field and the pressure exerted on Pales, the ATO has issued an advisory cautioning against potential disturbances in the region's stability. The advisory is coupled with the ATO's commitment to protect the interests of its member states both economically and strategically. Lesbia, a key ATO member and home to the Les Power Corp, a significant player in the energy industry, is stepping in to mediate the dispute, seeking to avert a potentially destabilize a conflict over a lucrative gas field. The ATO's stance on this dispute, particularly given Lesbia's involvement, highlights its readiness to protect its strategic interests and its capacity for diplomacy and managing regional tensions. This proactive diplomatic intervention in the economic stakes involved emphasizes the importance of the Orius gas field as an asset, underscoring its significance in maintaining geopolitical balance. Interesting, okay. Alright, let's check out the last newspaper here. From the Whole Sword Post. Swordland ratified a new trade agreement with Valen. Swordland ratified a new trade agreement and investment protection agreement with Valen. This is a significant development that shows a significant normalization of Swordish phasic relations after decades of troubles. At the most basic level, the agreements will support jobs and growth between the two nations and ensure that Swordland will be buying basic oil from a cheaper price. The agreements will gradually reduce most tariffs and regulatory barriers, creating new opportunities for Swordlish entrepreneurs to do business and invest in Valen. Negotiations also included a cooperation pact against the terrorist organization British Freedom Front. Really hoping that pact just means closing the border. I guess we'll find out. Overview, let's see. Valen border defense. Okay, yep, it looks like we're just defending the border. Perfect. Alright, and then economy. Let's see what else we have. Increased trade volume as a green thing now. It's good, because we have two different countries we're working with now, so that's good. Alright, diplomacy, active policies, trade with Valen, and defending the border against BFF. And tariff-free oil trade with Valen as a green situation, which is fantastic. Coolio. Alright, well, let's see here. Still got a few minutes before I want to wrap it up here, so let's head back to Whole Sword for whatever this is. Ooh, nice. The speech at the Grand National Assembly about the reforms. Fantastic. I came to the Grand National Assembly of Swordland to deliver a speech regarding the new constitution and ask for the support of the Assembly before the upcoming vote. I walked quickly through the corridors, giving my greetings to people on my way towards the Parliamentary Hall. When I entered the hall, the Assembly was complete chaos, with shouting and cursing between the parties. There was a heavy argument about a proposal made by an MP from the NFP. I took my seat inside the special area reserved for the ministers. Gloria was shouting from her seat at the center of the hall as she hit the gavel 3 times, each strike heavier than the one before. Order! Order! I saw Kazara Keeper standing up from her seat and shouting towards a member of the PFJP. Mr. Keepner, calm yourself. Show respect to the procedures of this assembly. Despite our efforts, the argument continued for a couple of minutes before everybody took back to their seats and finally went quiet. Good lord, Mr. Keepner, next time I tell you what to do, either take your seat or leave the hall so we can proceed with the procedures of this assembly and continue our duties. Some MPs from the NFP side shouted back there in protest. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, if you allow me to continue, she pointed at me. We have the president here with us today. He has asked to give an important announcement. The assembly fell silent. You have the floor, Mr. President. I walked to stand as loud clapping started on the ESP side. Brothers and sisters, I am here today to raise important questions regarding our outdated constitution. Let's see here. Let's go with this one, since we're trying to, gain power back from the, Supreme Court. Our elected assembly has always been overshadowed by the executive and the designated judiciary branches in Swordland. The Grand National Assembly must be able to exercise its job properly and without obstruction. However, our current constitution fails to guarantee this. I continued. Boy, let's see here. I think we're gonna go with this one. It's not about democracy. Therefore, we propose changes to the Constitution to prepare Swordland for a more democratic era. Applause came from the ESP and PFGP seats. With that one, we'll rebalance the branches of government to ensure a more democratic process. I focused on unity for sure. It is more important than ever that we stand united as a nation in these changing times. I call everybody to be part of the change our people has been calling for. We all want to make Swordland better, don't we? Let's embrace democracy and unite under the banner of our people, and surely Swordland will be great again. Let's just keep hammering that point home. We will make Swordland great again. Loud noises came from the SP and NFP seats. I took a breath and continued. Ladies and gentlemen of the Assembly, we must set aside our differences. Let's go with that one. Be part of a new era for Swordland. Join us and vote for our proposal. Let's get slightly poetic. Let's write the future together. And since I said poetic, we're going to finish with a poem. Why not? I decided to read a poem before I ended my speech. There is a destiny above destiny. There is God beyond existence or non-existence. Let's go with that. Why not? There is evil that tortures and tears me down. Fear not when the dark falls. There's an artist painting the sun. Beyond the next morning, there's a victory waiting to be won. The assembly roared with all kinds of different reactions. The whole United Southern Party stood up and started applauding. That sounded more like just weird noises and clapping. That's alright. Thank you for your speech, Mr. President. I walked back to my seat as many MPs asked to speak. Franz Richter was among them. Yes, Mr. Richter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank Mr. President for his speech. We in the People's Freedom and Justice Party stand in agreement with the need for a more democratic constitution. I would like to thank the ladies and gentlemen of the United Southern Party for their more open attitude compared to past years. As long as Mr. President's words prove not to be just words, we will be behind this much-needed movement for change. We welcome this attempt. I ask Mr. President to share the final contents of these proposals as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Suddenly, Sarah Keebner started yelling from his seat. The President must have lost his mind to cooperate with the likes of you, Mr. Richter. You and PFGP are nothing but puppets of Western interests. Order! Madam Speaker, I know you're in agreement with me as well. Don't stand idly while this administration is making deals with snakes to undermine the integrity of soul. Order! Mr. Keebner, how many times do I need to say you're speaking out of turn? I demand to speak. Gloria gave him a stare. She looked annoyed. Very well, Mr. Keebner, go ahead. Mr. President. He looked directly at me. The nationalist movement does not agree with your priorities, nor the way you're trying to implement them. The National Front Party will not stand with you on your new constitution. Let it be known that the NFP's concerns are not included in the so-called democratic reform. Thus, Mr. President has no right to claim them as such. We will stand our ground against any attempt to bring down our established political culture and national values. Thank you. Sarah went back to seat, but the chaos in the assembly continued. Let's go ahead and ask to speak. Let's just call out the Nazi for being a dick. It's fine. I ask to speak. Yes, Mr. President. Let's talk to Mr. Richter. Alright, Mr. Richter. I looked at him. Rest assured, your concerns will be addressed. I expect your support, Mr. Richter. We can do much more together. Gloria looked at me to see if I had finished my response. Alright, now let's yell at Mr. Keebner. Mr. Keebner. I looked at him. Let's see. Yeah, let's go with that one. We're not specifically cooperating with someone, but everyone. We ask that you also join us. He watched as he slouched in his seat, legs crossed. Let's keep going for the whole unity aspect thing. Do not stand against change. Be part of it, Mr. Keebner. We can do much more together. I expect your support in the upcoming vote, Mr. Keebner. Gloria looked at me to see if I'd finished my response. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. I got up from my seat and started my walk towards the exit. MPs kept shouting and responding to each other, creating a loud mess where nothing was legible. Order! Order! The topic is finished. We're moving on to the next topic. I slowly left the hall. The shouting could be heard from every corridor of the Grand National Assembly. Nice. It's only mostly embarrassing. Alright, well, I've got 2 reports, 2 papers before we end the churn, so let's go and get those out of the way. So, from Wholesale Reform Status. Leasing Cloud reported that so far they've been able to get in total 142 signatures behind the proposal. Efforts are underway to increase the support and reach out to the necessary members to reach 150. And we're pretty close. We'll get there. Alright, and from Suzerain Border Report. Defense Minister Josef Valencia reports that the Valen borders have been closed and the divisions of the Third Army are ready for the operation. Not exactly cool, but we kind of had to do it. Alright, let's grab the newspaper. So, from Wholesale Post. Rain, our elected assembly has always been overshadowed. President Rain has called on the Grand National Assembly Sortland to support the upcoming constitutional changes in his address to the Parliament. The President's address came after a series of meetings within the USP, which probably involved discussions about the new constitution. President Rain talked about the main points of their proposed changes and revealed that the current draft will be looked over again with the leaders of the PFJP before it is proposed in Parliament. Our elected assembly has always been overshadowed by the executive and the designated judiciary branches in Sortland, said President Rain, criticizing the power of the Supreme Court as well as the very office he's holding. This statement was met with surprise and was welcomed by Franz Richter of the PFJP. The Grand National Assembly must be able to exercise its job properly and without obstruction. However, our current constitution fails to guarantee this, said President Rain, showing that he is willing to bring changes that would elevate the Parliament's position. Awesome. And Geopolitico. Walker warns Voxlanian Navy over Helluland dispute. The tensions between Agnolia and Voxlan keeps climbing. The latest addition to the escalations happened yesterday on the Vogoslavian Channel, when the Voxlanian ships started advancing on the perimeter around the island. According to the Agnolian sources, yesterday morning, the Agnolian battleship Van Gilben A-387 had intercepted Voxlanian destroyer Stanison and warned them to move out of Agnolian waters. The Voxlanian captain did not respond to the communication, but both ships backed away from the scene after several hours of standstill. Seeing this event as Voxlan putting pressure over the island, Arcasian President Dwight Walker warned the Voxlanian Navy, saying, "We will not tolerate any attempts to trigger an incident on international waters. I call upon Mr. Hagel, pull your ships back immediately." Awesome. Alright, let's go and move on to the next turn here. Wealth of Nations. Awesome. Alright, got the save point there. So that feels like as good a place as any to call for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you next time.